Okay, welcome back to the channel. It is May 11th right now, but wanted to get you caught up on what's been happening lately. A few weeks ago, my youngest son was born. He was born on April 6th. April 5th, Laicie had really been battling with a headache that had lasted forever, about a week or two before. She was at the hospital with the headache, and they ran a bunch of tests and didn't really see anything that was going wrong, so they had given some steroid shots to try and help the baby along, because depending on how the tests came back, they might need to be delivering at about 28 weeks. But luckily, none of the tests showed that anything needed to happen, so we went home and she tried just taking it real easy, try and get to as close as she could to the delivery date. But then April 5th, again, it was late at night, the headache had come back throughout the day, she couldn't get rid of it, didn't know really what was going on, and was getting very worried, so she called an ambulance and went on to the hospital. I stayed home with my other son and tried to get some sleep, just knowing hospital takes forever. I wanted to be there with her, but I was going to be no use if I was up all night just sitting waiting at the hospital with her. So I slept. She texted and kept me updated a little bit. Again, this was Sunday going into Monday, so I also couldn't be at the hospital because I'd need to take Tilman to school. So woke up Monday, took Tilman to school. Everything was going good. Kind of told him what was happening. We told him what was happening as Laicie went to the hospital, just so he didn't wake up and freak out seeing an ambulance, anything like that. So went to the hospital, and then I kind of walked in about 8:30, 9 o'clock after dropping my son off at school. And interestingly, the doctors were just in there, so I walked in kind of right as they were getting there, and they were kind of like, yeah, all the tests from last time, a couple weeks ago, showed that it wasn't this. These tests are kind of showing that it's not preeclampsia, but at this point we don't really have too much other indication of what's going on, so we just kind of have to treat it like preeclampsia. Baby was doing great through all of this. Laicie was doing great, just in a lot of pain, and nothing would really touch the pain. From the last time, they had given a couple different medicines to try and help. Even she spent most of the day in the hospital trying to figure out what was going to work with the headache. Spent a night that time trying to get medicine and 24-hour samples and just testing and everything, and still couldn't find anything. So there I was, walking into doctors April 6th, them kind of saying, we kind of have to deliver. I don't know what's going on, but I think that's the best option right now. So that was crazy, because little man wasn't due until June 10th. Here we are, April 6th. It was like, okay. So I had to text my boss and then start texting family and say, he's coming today. I don't know when. They did say, it's busy, don't know when it's going to happen, but we're going to fit you in for, I guess in that sense, an emergency C-section. So that was interesting. So I'm trying to call everyone. I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, as they fit people in, it's probably going to be close to, this afternoon or whatever, because I walked in 9 a.m. So yeah, it'll be later. Texting people before I can even finish texting everybody. Laicie texts me and says, well, they're starting some stuff. They were starting, I think, magnesium oxide, something, IV drip that was miserable for Laicie. It was so hard. She was struggling when they start with a little dose and then they do a larger dose over a larger amount of time, and it was miserable. She hated it. She continues to say how miserable it was. So they started that to get ready for everything, then planning all the stuff. Again, kind of by this point it's 10, 11 o'clock. It was like, oh boy, okay, when's this gonna happen? So finally it all lines up. It still took a long time. They call us back. I'd have to go back and look at the exact times, but they call us back, start her on IV, take her back. I come back to the room. I sit with her a little bit, and then they go and take her back to the room to get her all situated and set up, draped, and medicine starting. She went on to say that part of that, some of it made her chest really tight, so it was really hard for her to breathe, and she felt very panicked there for a little bit. But we had great nurses, great everything. Everyone had talked about from the first time. The NICU nurse and doctor had come in and explained, was like, there's just going to be a lot of people in there, just so we're prepared and everyone's ready. So I was waiting for quite a while. Seemed like it was taking longer than it should, and actually part of the way through, like, I did see doctors running and, people rushing, and it was like, my wife's back there and they're rushing, what's going on? Because they hadn't really told me anything since rolling her back, and then I was going to go back. I had gotten dressed just a little bit ago. Here's a picture. But as I kind of poked my head out the door, it was someone else that they rolled in with an emergency C-section. So there was someone right next to her that was delivering at the same time. So they finally come get me, and they're already part of the way through. We had an awesome, I don't know what her title was. It looked like they were maybe training in the OR. But she was definitely in charge of that operating room, that charge nurse. I don't know what exactly she was. She was awesome. So they do all that, and everything's going good. They call me back, and they start doing what they need to do to get him out. And I look over kind of as they pull him out. I was peeking my head over the curtain a little bit, trying to see what was going on. I did get in a little bit of trouble. One of the, I think they were more NICU side. Someone standing back in the corner with the isolette was like, no, sit down, because I was on a stool next to Laicie. They pull him out and everything. He's crying a little bit. I see him for the first time. I look over at the clock. It says, right around 1 o'clock. So that was crazy. Then they take him over, start cleaning him up and everything, wiping him down, making sure he's breathing, everything's going good. They call me over. I pull the cloths off so I can see him a little bit, and there he is. There's my little man, born at like right around 31 weeks. Just craziness, so early. Didn't expect that. I did expect a little bit that he was going to be early, but not that early, not 10 weeks early. He was so small. So that was quite an experience. And then, so they show him to me a little bit. They do their stuff. They hold him over. They hold him next to Laicie so we can get a picture together. I might show that. And then I get to follow them back over to NICU, not really knowing what all that is going to be like. And then they are finishing up with Laicie. She was having some other stuff done, so they're finishing up with her. I go back with the little man back to the NICU. They get him all situated and set. They take him out and weigh him. They had to weigh him twice because the first scale wasn't working. But it was just crazy to see him. I have some pictures of them holding him up. I got to see him and look at him, and they were talking to me and explaining some stuff, and then they sent me back to the little labor and delivery room, and I waited for Laicie. And again, I knew they were doing some other stuff and that surgery takes a while, but I was starting to get a little worried. It seemed like it was taking a really long time. And, I was then texting everybody of what was happening. I don't know if I texted pictures right away, but texting everybody, and still was kind of like, what's taking so long? But they finally bring her back. Everything was good. Took her quite a while to come back out of anesthesia. And then we went back to her room and just had to wait. She had to recover and all that. So that was it. He's over in NICU, and we're in our room, and they're doing their stuff, and we're doing our stuff, and she's recovering. So that was quite rough. We had to wait, I think it was until like the next day, maybe it was later in that day, they rolled us over there, her and her hospital bed, over to see him over in NICU. But it was crazy. Didn't expect any of that. Didn't know what it was going to be like. So there's kind of the background. Stay tuned. I'm going to kind of do some more of these and give you some more updates. So thanks for watching. If you have any tips, tricks, ideas, just want to share your experience, feel free to put them down there in the comments, and I'll try and reply. It's still been crazy, just all the time in the NICU, all the driving, everything that's involved. Nothing I ever would have expected or that we were even planning for. So that was crazy.